You have to ask yourself, why is the American government creating so many homeless cities around the United States? And yes, purposely creating these homeless cities around the United States. Well, stay tuned and I'll tell you.
Yes, sirree. I'm not freaking blind, guys. It's Gweilo style. I think it's Thursday. You could die.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Geez, you know. Oh, yeah, because it goes on and on and on. For all you haters, there's something to chew on for the next couple of...
Welcome back to the Gweilo 60 channel. Being an urban camper nowadays seems to be a career choice in the United States of America. Urban camping meaning living in homeless cities, tents along the side of a street, downtown Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia to Los Angeles has over 61,000 homeless people living on the streets of Los Angeles. New York City, also over 61,000 people living on the streets of New York City. And you think that these people chose to be there. No, the government chose to put them there. And it's all about controlling the public. If you're a middle-class person working, say, at a hospital, and the government says, you stick a needle in your arm or we'll take your job away from you. And you could end up like those people on the street. You see, those street people, those urban campers, those homeless people in the homeless cities across America are the deterrent the government created to show you as a person what could happen to you if you don't do what they tell you to do, if you do not vote the right way, if you do not think of gender identification, or if you're a teacher and you don't believe in this new gender identification bullshit that they throw at you, then you lose your job. You have no money to pay your mortgage. You have no money to pay your rent. You can't buy the gas for your car. You can't put food on your family's table. You're going to, you got it, tent city. You know what I mean? So that's the deterrent. That's why those tent cities are there, is to make you understand that the government in the West has the power to put you there. If you don't stick a needle in your arm, if you don't get vaccinated, if you fight against that, they will take your job away. Just like they did in British Columbia. 2,500 healthcare workers lost their job. Why? Because they refused to take a vaccination that the government mandated that they had to take, or else they would lose their job. You see how they're starting to control not just your daily life, but what you put into your body. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any means. I've got 2 shots in my arm, but they're not the mRNAs in the West. They're the Sinopharms from China. That's like the old polio vaccines and stuff like that. I believe those work just as good and probably less side effects in the long run. I'll get into that in a future video. But the idea that the government is manipulating you, if you're a cake maker and if you don't want to make cakes for gay people, well, you can be charged.
But it also allows you to make more. It began when 2 gentlemen came into my bakery and asked me to decorate a cake for them. And so I replied, I'll make you your birthday cakes, your shower cakes, or your cookies and brownies. I just don't do cakes for same-sex wedding. We don't do Halloween cakes, we don't do adult-themed cakes. We've actually turned down, probably at that time, that may have been the 5th or 6th same-sex wedding cake. For the most part, they all just said, oh, okay, and went somewhere else. One case, they called up later, and they, at the end of the conversation, thought that it was okay, that that was my right.
and they'll take you to court. And if they beat you in court, you lose everything. And yes, off to tent city you go. You know what I mean? So that deterrent is always there in the backs of the minds of the middle class. The people that have jobs, have mortgages, rent apartments, have cars, all of these things. The poor people are easy to manipulate and control because they need welfare checks. They need subsidized housing. They need food stamps. They need the government to help them get by day to day. And if they buck that system, off to tent city you go. And that's what tent city's for all of those people that don't listen to the government and what they want you to think, be, and do. And it's as simple as that. Even the rich people, maybe they won't end up in tent city, but they could end up in jail. Look at Donald Trump. Good example. 78 indictable charges against Donald Trump. Now he's running for president of the United States again. And they didn't charge him after January 6th. They didn't charge him within a couple months of it. They waited until it was election time. And so it's politically motivated. The politics, the government of the day does this to all the people, whether you're poor, whether you're middle class, or whether you're rich. Look at Jordan Peterson in Canada. He did some tweets that the government didn't like. The psychology licensing group of people, which is a government organization, didn't like these tweets. So what did they do? They said either you get re-educated or we'll pull your license. It's in court now. We'll see how that one works its way out. But you see how all of these organizations, all of these government organizations are there to control you as a citizen. It used to be the days back a long time ago, well, not that long ago, where our colonial spirit was sort of centered on places like Africa and Asia and Latin America. You know, those little people over there that they needed to be controlled by us smart Westerners because, well, we're smart Westerners is what it comes down to. And we know better than anybody else what's supposed to go on in the world, and that's just the way it is. Okay, well, now China's stronger than we are. You know, the African countries are saying enough of this. The Latin Americans are saying, well, we want to pony up to the Chinese. They're nicer to us. It's a better way. So now the colonial West only has their own citizens to control, and because they're so good at it, they're controlling them right down to, you got it, tent city, where the bad people go. The people that don't toe the party line. The people that aren't doing what we want them to do. We want them to think like we do. No, you gotta believe in gender identification. So if you don't, as a teacher, we'll take your job away and you'll go to tent city. If you're a psychologist and you tweet the wrong things, well, we'll take your license away and you go to tent city. If you want to run for president of the United States, we won't send you to tent city, we'll send you to jail. Okay? If you don't take a vaccination that we tell you to take, we'll take your job away and you go to tent city. So tent city is the deterrent, and that's being created by the government of the United States of America, the government of Canada, the government of Britain, the government of Australia. A lot of European Union governments have created this deterrent for you middle class people out there that are a paycheck or two away from being a tent city occupant. You know, you could take that last $200, get yourself, you know, a tent, a sleeping bag, and you could be one of the rich people in tent city because you have a tent and a sleeping bag, not just an old blue tarp. You know what I mean? So next time you drive by a tent city and think it's their fault, now you know whose fault it actually is. It's the government of your country creating tent cities so that they can control you as a citizen, and you have to do exactly what they say. Or you're going to, as I said before, you're going to tent city. And that, my friends, is another video from Gweilo 60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Don't forget to resubscribe. Oh, and that's another thing, because my channel's been censored for a while now. You can see it go up, and then just stop. Why? Because they don't like my message. If I was living off my YouTube, the money that I make off YouTube, I would, you got it, be living in Tent City. But I'm not. So it's just one of those things. So now that you know who's manipulating it, who's controlling you, and it really doesn't matter who you vote for, because the next group of people running your government will do exactly the same thing. Why? Because that's the system that we've created over the last couple hundred years. Until next time, think about it. Peace out. Bye now.